Respect. It's a word we throw around, but how many of us actually live by it? Especially when it comes to ourselves. We'll respect our parents, our mentors, our friends, even our colleagues. But so often we forget to show that same level of respect to ourselves. And I'm here to tell you that self-respect is not negotiable. When you respect yourself, you're setting the foundation for everything else in your life. It's the cornerstone of how you move, how you interact, how you choose who gets close to you and who doesn't. Respecting yourself means knowing your worth, and it means not letting anyone diminish that. Sometimes life puts you in situations where people don't appreciate you, your efforts, your kindness, your sacrifices. And let me tell you something, folks, staying in a place where you're not valued, not appreciated, that's not respect. Respecting yourself means knowing when to walk away. It means having the courage to say, I deserve better, and then acting on it. And I know it's not always easy. Walking away, especially from people or situations we care about, can be one of the hardest things we do. But sometimes it's also the most necessary thing we do for ourselves. Let me tell you something, folks, not everyone is going to appreciate what you bring to the table. Not everyone is going to see your value. And that's okay, because your worth is not determined by someone else's ability to see it. You need to know your own worth. You need to hold that close and protect it. Too often we think, if I just do more, if I just give a little more, they'll see my value. They'll appreciate me. But life doesn't work like that. You could give, and some people will still never appreciate it. And if you don't respect yourself enough to walk away from those situations, you'll find yourself drained, unfulfilled, and wondering where all that time went. Respect yourself enough to know when enough is enough. That's a big statement right there. And it's powerful because it speaks to something a lot of people don't talk about often. The strength to say no, to set boundaries, to walk away when things aren't right. You see, sometimes we think that holding on shows strength, that staying when we're disrespected or undervalued is somehow noble. But true strength is knowing when to let go. True strength isn't saying, I've had enough. It's about standing up and refusing to let anyone or anything define your worth. Because if you don't respect yourself enough to draw that line, no one else will draw it for you. Self-respect, folks, is not about what anyone else sees. It's about what you know within yourself. You need to respect yourself enough to not tolerate being disrespected. And that means having boundaries. Boundaries, they're like a protective fence around your soul. They help you know where you end and where someone else begins. They allow you to keep your peace, to guard your time, to protect your energy. And when you're around people who don't respect those boundaries, you're left drained, you're left exhausted, and eventually you're left questioning your own worth. That's why it's critical to draw that line. If someone can't honor your boundaries, then they're not respecting you. And if they're not respecting you, it's time to walk away. There is power in walking away. Too many people mistake it for weakness, but I'll tell you right now, it's one of the most empowering things you can do for yourself. Walking away doesn't mean you're giving up, it means you're standing up. You're standing up for your peace, for your dignity, for your worth. It's a powerful statement that says, I know my value and I refuse to let anyone else dictate it. Because here's the thing, you don't need someone else's validation to be whole. You don't need their approval or their praise to be complete. You were born whole. You were born worthy. And anyone who tries to make you feel like you're anything less than that, they're not there to help you. They're there to help themselves. When you stay in a situation where you're not appreciated, where you're disrespected, you're sending a message. You're teaching people how to treat you. You're telling them, this is what I'm okay with. And the thing is, if you allow disrespect long enough, you start to believe you deserve it. That's why it's so important to respect yourself enough to say, no, I don't say this. And to walk away when that line is crossed. It's not about making a scene. It's not about proving a point to anyone else. It's about proving a point to yourself. It's about saying, I value myself enough to protect my peace, my dignity, my worth. Self-respect isn't something that only shows up in the big moments of life. It's in the small everyday choices you make. It's in the conversations you engage in how you let people talk to you, in the way you respond when someone crosses the line. It's in the standards you set for yourself and refuse to compromise on, even if it means you're standing alone. Because sometimes standing alone with dignity is better than being surrounded by people who don't see your value. When you're alone, you still have your self-respect, you still have your integrity, you still have your worth. Dignity is a precious thing, folks, and no one can take it from you unless you hand it over. Dignity is yours. It's a choice you make for yourself every day. It's the quiet confidence that says, I am worthy, even if no one else acknowledges it. That belief, that self-respect that'll carry you through life in ways you can't imagine. It will guard you from people who don't have your best interests at heart. It'll give you the strength to walk away from situations that don't serve you, that don't value you, that don't appreciate you. I'll tell you something else too. When you respect yourself, you set a standard. You're showing others what's acceptable and what isn't. You're setting an example not only for yourself, but for the people around you. And when you maintain that standard, you attract others who also respect it. People who will honor you, who will see your worth, who will respect your boundaries. That's the power of self-respect. It not only repels those who don't value you, but it draws in those who do. Self-respect is not about being selfish. It's not about putting yourself above others. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness, patience, and understanding that you would offer someone else. It's about valuing yourself enough to demand respect, not just from others, but from yourself as well. And sometimes that means having the courage to say goodbye, even when it's hard. Walking away doesn't mean you're bitter. And it doesn't mean you're angry. It just means you respect yourself too much to stay where you're not valued. Respecting yourself means acknowledging that you have value simply because you exist. It's not based on your job, your relationships, your achievements, or the way others see you. It's based on your inherent worth. And if someone doesn't see that worth, that's their loss, not yours. You don't have to prove your value to anyone. You don't have to justify your worth to anyone. When you respect yourself, you walk with a quiet confidence that doesn't need validation. You don't need to shout it from the rooftops because you know it within yourself. And that's enough. Sometimes self-respect will lead you down a lonely path. It will require you to leave behind people, places, and situations that once meant a lot to you. But remember, every ending is a new beginning. By walking away from what doesn't serve you, you're creating space for something better. You're making room for people who appreciate you, for situations that uplift you, for opportunities that honor you. And in that process, you're growing stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Growth isn't always easy. It's not always comfortable, but it's necessary. And sometimes walking away is part of that growth. When you respect yourself, you give yourself permission to evolve, to change, to become who you're meant to be. You don't stay stuck in situations that limit you. You don't allow others to hold you back. You rise. You rise above the negativity, above the disrespect, above the things that no longer align with who you are. And in that process, you find a deeper sense of peace, a deeper sense of purpose, and a deeper sense of self-respect. At the end of the day, self-respect is about honoring who you are. It's about listening to your inner voice, trusting your instincts, and believing in your own worth. It's about knowing that you deserve to be treated with respect, kindness, and dignity, and refusing to settle for anything less. When you have that level of respect for yourself, you become unstoppable. You become someone who can walk away from what doesn't serve them without looking back, someone who can stand alone if necessary, someone who doesn't compromise their integrity for anyone or anything. Walking away isn't the end, it's a beginning. It's the beginning of a life where you're honored, respected, and valued for who you are. It's the start of a journey where you choose yourself, where you prioritize your well-being, where you build a life that reflects the respect you have for yourself. And as you walk that path, you'll find that self-respect attracts others who will honor you in the same way. It creates a ripple effect, drawing in people who respect your boundaries, who appreciate your worth, and who uplift your spirit. In life, there will always be those who don't see your value, who don't respect your boundaries, who don't honor who you are. And that's okay. They're not your people. Your people are the ones who see you for who you are, who respect your worth, who appreciate your boundaries. So when you encounter those who don't, have the courage to walk away. Respect yourself enough to say, I deserve better, and know that better is out there waiting for you. Walking away from what doesn't serve you is not about pride or ego. It's about dignity. It's about saying, I am worth more than this. It's about choosing peace over chaos, self-worth over disrespect, growth over stagnation. And when you make that choice, you're not only respecting yourself, you're setting yourself up for a life that reflects that respect. So remember this, folks, respect yourself enough to know when enough is enough. Honor your boundaries. Stand up for your worth. And don't be afraid to walk away from anything or anyone that doesn't align with that. Because at the end of the day, you're all you've got. And you deserve to be treated with respect, kindness, and dignity by others. Yes, but most importantly, by yourself. Now, I'm not saying you're always going to feel strong when you walk away. Sometimes it might feel like you're leaving a part of yourself behind. You might feel sadness, a sense of loss, maybe even a little fear about what comes next. And that's all right. Those feelings, they're temporary. They come and they go. They're just a part of life's rhythm. But the respect you'll feel for yourself, now that's something that's going to last. That's something that becomes a part of who you are. Because every time you make that choice to walk away from a situation that doesn't value you, you're sending yourself a message that you matter. You're reminding yourself that you're worth more than the bare minimum, that you deserve to be valued, seen, respected. And when you start living from that place of self-respect, it changes everything. Suddenly, you're not just attracting better relationships, you're attracting better everything. People, places, opportunities, all of it starts to align with the respect you're showing yourself. It's like you're setting the tone, creating a new, you have to settle for less. Maybe it's that voice that says you're somehow less deserving than others, that you have to earn your worth by constantly sacrificing. Or maybe it's a habit of putting everyone else's needs above your own, thinking that's what makes you a good person. But real worth, real respect doesn't come from sacrificing yourself. It comes from understanding that you're allowed to take up space in this world, that you have a right to be treated with respect, kindness, and dignity just like anyone else. And here's something we've all got to remember. Respecting yourself doesn't make you selfish. It doesn't mean you're putting yourself above others or trying to tear anybody else down. No, it's simply about giving yourself the same care, the same consideration, the same kindness that you would offer to someone else. It's about treating yourself as someone worthy of patience and grace. And sometimes it's about setting the standard, drawing that line for how you expect to be treated. It's about choosing not to settle for anything less than what you know in your heart you deserve. When you start respecting yourself like that, you'll notice something. Not everyone's going to like it. Some people have gotten real comfortable with the version of you that bends, that gives in, that doesn't ask for much. They like the version of you that says yes when you really want to say no. And the moment you start setting boundaries, the moment you start demanding a little respect, some people are going to get uncomfortable. But you know what? That's okay. You don't need everyone's approval. You don't need everyone to understand or agree with the choices you make to honor yourself. Because the people who truly respect you, they're going to stay. They're going to adjust. And the ones who can't or won't, let them go. Not everyone's meant to stay on the journey with you. This journey of self-respect, of walking away when you're not valued, is not about making other people the enemy. It's not about looking down on anyone. It's about lifting yourself up. It's about stepping into the fullness of who you are without apology. When you respect yourself, you set the foundation for a life that's built on truth, on integrity, on a genuine appreciation for who you are. You're not chasing anyone's validation. You're not waiting for someone to see your worth. You already know it. And that, my friend, is freedom. Here's the thing. Sometimes life will challenge you. It will put you in situations that test your self-respect. You'll face people who don't see your value, situations that don't honor your worth. And it's in those moments that you've got to remember your own value. You've got to remember who you are and what you deserve. You're the only one who can truly define your worth, the only one who can decide what's acceptable in your life. And sometimes that means standing alone for a while. It means walking away from comfort zones, from people you thought would always be there, from situations that don't serve you. You see, self-respect is a journey. It's not a one-time decision. It's a daily choice. It's in the little things, in the small moments when you decide to speak up for yourself, to hold your ground, to stay true to your values. It's in the quiet resolve you feel when you say, I deserve better, and mean it. And every time you make that choice, every time you honor yourself in that way, you're building a foundation of self-worth that no one can shake. You're standing on solid ground. Respecting yourself means that you're willing to risk a little discomfort, a little loneliness, a little uncertainty for the sake of your own well-being. It means you're willing to stand firm even when it's hard, because you know that peace, that self-worth is more valuable than any fleeting approval. You're not here to live a life that just pleases others. You're here to live a life that's true to you, a life that brings you peace, joy, and fulfillment. And sometimes that means choosing yourself, even if it makes others uncomfortable. When you have that respect for yourself, you'll find that you're more at peace. You're not constantly looking for reassurance or validation from others. You're not bending over backward to make people happy. You're not sacrificing your well-being just to keep the peace, because you've already got that peace within you. You've built it by respecting yourself, by setting those boundaries, by choosing yourself time and time again. And that peace, it's priceless. It's the kind of peace that keeps you grounded, that gives you strength, that allows you to walk through life with confidence and grace. And you know, self-respect doesn't mean you won't have moments of doubt. It doesn't mean you won't have times when you question yourself, when you feel uncertain or vulnerable. But those moments don't define you. What defines you is your ability to pick yourself back up, to remind yourself of your worth, to keep moving forward even when the path isn't clear. Self-respect gives you the courage to face those moments of doubt and come out stronger on the other side. It reminds you that no matter what, you're worthy of respect, love, and dignity. Respecting yourself is about seeing your own value even when others don't. It's about knowing your worth even when life tries to tell you otherwise. It's about standing tall even when you feel like shrinking back. And as you continue to walk in that respect, you'll notice that the right people, the right situations, the right opportunities will find their way to you. Because the energy you put out is what you attract. When you respect yourself, you attract respect from others. When you value yourself, you draw in people who value you. It's a beautiful cycle. At the end of the day, respect is about more than just boundaries. It's about honoring who you are at your core. It's about living a life that reflects your truth, that aligns with your values, that brings you peace and fulfillment. It's about letting go of anything or anyone that doesn't honor your worth and making room for what does. Because you deserve that. You deserve a life that's built on respect, on integrity, on a deep sense of self-worth. And if you ever find yourself in a situation where you're not valued, where you're not respected, don't be afraid to walk away. Trust that you're making space for something better. Trust that by choosing yourself up for a life that honors who you are. It might not always be easy, but it'll always be worth it. Because when you respect yourself, when you honor your worth, you're creating a life that's rooted in truth, in strength, in love. Remember this, you are worthy of respect. You are worthy of kindness. You are worthy of love. And every day you have the power to live a life that reflects that worth. So walk away from anything that doesn't see your value. Stand tall in your truth. And let the world see that you know exactly who you are and what you deserve. That's self-respect. That's power. And that, my friends, is the foundation of a life well lived. See, self-respect isn't just about leaving behind people who don't value you. No, it's about stepping toward a life that does. It's about creating space for yourself where you're valued, where you're celebrated, where you're appreciated for who you are, not just for what you can give. Too often, we spend so much time trying to prove our worth to others, trying to make them see our value, that we forget to prove it to ourselves. We forget that the most important opinion about us isn't what others think, it's what we think. Respect yourself enough to walk toward a life that values you, a life that sees you and celebrates you without conditions or expectations. And let me tell you something, that life exists. It's out there waiting for you. But it requires one thing, that you believe in yourself enough to let go of anything that doesn't serve you. That takes courage. It takes conviction. And it takes knowing deep down that you are worth the effort. You're worth the fight. You're worth every step it takes to walk away from people and situations that don't appreciate you. You're worth the journey it takes to create a life that respects who you are, where you don't feel like you have to shrink yourself or change to fit in. You deserve to be whole, to be free, to live fully as you are. So start today. Start by telling yourself that you are worthy, that you are valuable, that you deserve respect, and mean it. Don't just say the words, embody them. Let them become part of who you are, part of your decisions, part of how you carry yourself. And then start acting like it. Set boundaries. Say no when you need to. Walk away from anything that doesn't align with the respect you have for yourself. Trust that each step you take is bringing you closer to the life that's waiting for you. And watch how your life begins to change. Watch how the world around you starts to shift when you start valuing yourself. Now, I know that walking away can feel daunting, especially when you've spent so long in places or with people that don't see your worth. But here's the thing. Every time you walk away from something that doesn't respect you, you're making room for something that will. It's like clearing the clutter from your life so you can finally breathe, so you can finally see what's possible. And the more you do this, the more you'll realize that you don't need anyone else to validate your worth. You are already worthy from the beginning. The people, the opportunities, the life that aligns with your self-respect, that's the reward for believing in yourself, for honoring who you are. Respecting yourself isn't just a one-time thing. It's a practice, a commitment. It's in the little choices you make every day. It's in the way you talk to yourself, the way you treat yourself, the way you allow others to treat you. Self-respect is a standard, a way of being that shows the world this is who I am and this is what I deserve. And when you live from that place, the right people, the right situations, they'll find you. Because self-respect is magnetic. It draws in people who recognize your value, who respect your boundaries, who celebrate your presence. It creates a life that's aligned with your worth. This path isn't always easy. There will be times when it feels easier to settle, to compromise, to stay in spaces where you know you're not respected. But remember, self-respect isn't about choosing the easy path. It's about choosing the path that honors you, the path that aligns with your truth. And sometimes that path requires you to stand alone for a while. It requires you to let go of comfort and familiarity to make room for something better. It requires faith, patience, and the understanding that you are building a life that's worth every bit of discomfort, every bit of uncertainty, every bit of sacrifice. So take that first step. Start by valuing yourself, by treating yourself as someone worthy of love, respect, and kindness. And don't just say it, show it. Show it in the way you set boundaries, in the way you refuse to tolerate anything less than what you deserve. Show it in the way you hold your head high, knowing that you are enough just as you are. And watch as the world around you responds to that energy. Watch as your life starts to reflect the respect you have for yourself. Because here's the truth, the life that values you is out there. It's waiting for you to step into it, to claim it, to live it. But it starts with you. It starts with the respect you show yourself, with the standards you set, with the belief you hold that you are worthy of a life that honors you. And every time you walk away from something that doesn't respect you, you're stepping closer to that life. Every time you choose yourself, you're building a future that reflects your worth, a future that's aligned with your self-respect. So keep walking, keep believing, keep honoring who you are, because the life that values you, the life that respects you, the life that celebrates you, that's the life you deserve. And it's out there waiting for you to claim it. It's out there ready to show you just how valuable you truly are. And when you finally step into that life, you'll realize that the journey, the sacrifices, the steps you took to respect yourself, they were all worth it. You were worth it. People are going to treat you the way you allow them to treat you. So if you allow disrespect, if you tolerate being undervalued, that's the energy you're inviting into your life. But when you respect yourself, you're telling the world, I am worthy of kindness, of love, of respect. And that's what you're going to attract. That's what's going to come into your life. You've got one life, folks, just one. Don't waste it trying to please people who don't appreciate you. Or don't waste it in situations that don't respect who you are. Stand up for yourself. Walk away when necessary. And always respect yourself first. Because when you respect yourself, everything else falls into place. You'll find that the people who are meant to be in your life, the opportunities that are meant for you, they'll all come. And they'll appreciate you, they'll value you, they'll respect you. Respecting yourself isn't a one-time decision. It's a daily practice. Every day you have to choose to honor who you are. You have to choose to stand up for yourself, to protect your peace, to value your worth. And I promise you, when you do that, when you make self-respect a priority, your life will start to reflect that. You'll start to see how powerful, how worthy, how deserving you truly are. So remember, folks, respect yourself. Walk away when you're not appreciated. Hold your head high. Know your worth. And never, ever settle for less than you deserve. Because you, my friend, are worth it.